You know, I find it mildly infuriating that the norm for takeout is to include napkins, utensils, and these sauce packets here. I personally never use them because 99% of the takeout that I order or buy, I eat it at home where I have my own napkins, utensils, and condiments. And up until 2 days ago, I was somewhat fine about this because I thought that since these utensils are hard plastic, I can just recycle them alongside my other recyclables. Turns out I was really wrong. I looked up on the website of my city's recycling program, and lo and behold, plastic utensils like these are listed as things that I should not put in the recycling bin. I feel really bad because for years now I've been putting these into the recycling bin in the hopes that they'll be recycled. And this leads me to today's video, which is about my 9 habits for reducing the amount of waste that I generate. Stick around to the very end of the video to learn more about how you can contribute to this new TeamSeas initiative launching today to clear trash from our oceans, rivers, and beaches. Alright, to start off this list, I want to jump back into talking about ordering takeout. Whenever I get my takeout, I always let the person know when I'm ordering my takeout to not include any kind of utensils or these sauce packets. And sometimes I even outright tell them that I can carry the takeout boxes myself without a plastic or paper bag. Doing this has gotten me some weird looks from time to time, and sometimes the message doesn't get through and the complimentary utensils and napkins and sauce packets gets included in my takeout bag. But after I finish enjoying my takeout food, if any of the food packaging is recyclable, I'll go ahead and give them a thorough clean and put it aside for recycling. Generally speaking, I try my best to recycle any sort of packaging or items that I buy, from the boxes that come in my online shopping purchases to the cartons that store my eggs. I put a conscious effort to ensure that I'm not throwing away any recyclable items into the trash. Moving forward, I'll be extra careful with the things that I'm recycling to ensure that I don't end up wish-cycling things such as these plastic utensils here. So I'll highly recommend that you check out the website of your local recycling program to figure out what kind of recyclable items that they accept. Next up is reusable bags, or tote bags as they are commonly called. I have a few of these that I use in rotation whenever I go out to buy stuff, and other than takeout, it's been a long time since I've brought home a plastic bag. In the past, I used to think paper bags that more and more retailers are now using is a good substitute for plastic bags, but as it turns out, paper bags are actually more harmful to the environment, and as I've shown in my grocery haul videos, they are rather flimsy. So nowadays, whenever I forget to bring out my tote bags when I'm out shopping, I choose to just carry stuff in my hands. It is a little bit inconvenient, but I think it's worth the effort. But anyways, another way I use tote bags is to directly carry any loose produce that I buy at the grocery store, as opposed to using the lightweight plastic bags that is commonly available at the produce section. You might think this is a little unhygienic, but my thought is that I'm anyways going to be washing these fresh produce before consuming them, so I think it's fine. And speaking of produce, I tend to buy things in the grocery store that have sustainability and zero waste in mind. What this means is that I prefer buying items that don't come with a lot of packaging, foods that are sustainable and are certified humane, and items from brands that are environmentally friendly. The grocery items that fall into this category are usually pretty good with how they deal with packaging and sourcing ingredients, which indirectly reduces the amount of waste that I am creating. But I have to admit that I still end up buying quite a bit of conventional items, and a lot of them are wrapped in layers of packaging. So trying to reduce waste that I'm buying into isn't always the easiest thing whenever I'm shopping at a typical grocery store. Besides that, I try to reduce the amount of food I have to throw out. For me, this means that I only buy groceries when I have 2 to 3 days of food left in the fridge. Doing this prevents me from forgetting to eat something that I have in the fridge, which may lead me to throwing food away. For certain items like garlic or bread, I like to put them in the freezer because I'm only cooking for myself, and the quantity that some of these items are sold in grocery stores are a bit too much for me to consume before they go bad. Also, I use things like an airtight sealed container to store my leftovers, and I have these beeswax wraps that are a natural alternative to plastic wraps. Water break. The next thing is this Zojirushi water bottle that I absolutely love. I would say that 90% of the water that I drink every single year is through this bottle. I bring this everywhere I go, which means that I don't ever need to buy bottled water. I have had this water bottle for close to 5 years now, and it has seen its fair shares of battle scars here, but it still works amazingly great to store cold and hot beverages without leaking. When I bought this in 2016, it costed me $26.47, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever bought online. And that is a good segue to talking about online shopping. It is no surprise I've been trying to reduce my online shopping adventures because it makes me spend an unnecessary amount of money, but more critically, it generates waste in the form of the shipping label or the shipping packaging itself. And that is on top of the packaging that the products that I'm buying comes in. Now, I do take an effort to properly recycle the shipping packaging, but after I cleared out one of my utility closets early this year, it became very evident that I buy a lot of stuff that I don't end up using, which is kind of bad for my wallet and for the environment. Besides that, I tend to buy high quality stuff which will hopefully have a longer lifespan than cheaper products that need to be replaced more frequently. In my experience, this takes a good amount of research and some trial and error to figure out what kind of things can stand the test of time. Like a lot of the camera equipment that I have been using for this past year and a half are beginning to show its age, and I do regret that I didn't pay a bit more to buy something that was a little bit more durable. Lastly, I tend to wear my clothes until it's no longer wearable. Out of this entire list, this is the thing that I have been doing the longest. Clothes, in my opinion, is one of those things that can contribute to a lot of waste if it's only worn a couple of times, especially given how resource intensive it is to produce a piece of clothing. Part of how I can continue to wear clothes until they go bad is that I'm okay with wearing clothes that are off fashion, and the second part is that I buy most of my clothes from Uniqlo, which in my personal experience has clothing that ages really well. But yeah, these are some of the habits that I do as a person to reduce the amount of waste that I produce. One piece of advice I'll give you is to take small steps and not to try to integrate a lot of these things in your life, as it can be very overwhelming at first. All these things that I talked about in this video, I've been doing them incrementally over the years, and it's not something that happened overnight. And all this talk about reducing waste relates back to this new global campaign from Mark Rober and Jimmy aka Mr. Beast called TeamSeas that is launching today. This campaign is looking to raise $30 million to remove 30 million pounds of plastic and trash from our oceans, rivers, and beaches. And as I highlighted in this video, there are a lot of things that can generate unnecessary trash, and whether it be directly or indirectly, some of these trash that we create will end up in the oceans, rivers, and beaches. All donations to the TeamSeas campaign will be equally split amongst the non-profit charity Ocean Conservancy, which will clean up beaches and oceans, and the Ocean Cleanup, which will clean up rivers. So head on over to teamseas.org to learn more and to contribute to this campaign to clean our oceans, rivers, and beaches. If you don't have the means to donate monetarily, feel free to share this video with your friends and family to get the word out about TeamSeas. And I'll welcome you to try out any of these methods that I outlined in this video so that you too can play a part in reducing the amount of waste or trash that is created in our world.